as installs up here, we deal with all faults to do with the infrastructure. So we do that through a system called FMS, which is the fault management system. So basically we'll take a call from, it could be anyone, it could be any of the teams, the S&T teams, PUA, obviously you guys, signallers and the boxes, and they'll explain the fault to us. We'll stick it in through the FMS system, and then that gets the ball rolling for us to obviously send out the teams to then go and action the fault basically. So again, the faults could be anything from points failures, total power failures. There's loads of different aspects of things that can fail on the track. Obviously the overheads. So from there, we obviously then have to get people out to it as quick as possible. So depending on what the fault is, we've obviously got MOMs, the S&T teams, PWA guys, P&D guys, like anything we need for that particular fault we can send out straight away. And then our job over here is to obviously then maintain that incident. So obviously because there's money involved, we want the quickest response times, the quickest fixes, getting it all back to how it was so that the TOCs can obviously run their service and we can get passengers moving.
Right.
So that's pretty much the core of our role.
And everything else builds upon that.
Yeah, exactly. So once, depending on the complexity of the fault as well, you'll then obviously get more people involved, and then you have to sort of maintain contact with all those different parties, and at the same time we do work in tandem with the TRCs on the other side, because obviously they need to deal with the train side of it for us, but obviously they need to be updated with things so that they can update the TOCs and stuff as we go. So there's a lot of teamwork involved from both sides. That's why personally I find being quite loud is easy when things kick off, because you haven't got time to go around telling everyone individually things, so you just need to sort of announce it. You might obviously sometimes get the guys from the info desk coming over and asking a few questions, but that's not too bad. So normally sort of the louder the better at the start, especially for things like up at Foxton where we had that points failure. It just lets everyone know, and then you can sort of start the ball rolling from there. And then sometimes we don't, because we've only got GA up here, but GTRs obviously operate out there, so we have to ring them separately. And
where was that?
this was at Foxton.
Foxton.
It's near Cambridge, So after a train came out of the sidings, it failed the points. So we had no normal on the points, so we couldn't actually run down Royston.
Run through?
No, it wasn't a run through. After the train left, they had to move the points again to get the access on down Royston for the trains coming up.
Right, the detection failure.
Yeah, basically. And so that obviously failed, and then we couldn't run any trains on the down Royston. So immediately from there, the SSM rang that through to me, and then from there I've contacted the S&T team and the MOM to get down there basically as quick as possible. They gave me an ETA of half hour, so from there you are sort of playing a bit of a waiting game, because until you can get people on site, you don't know what's wrong. So and this is like on days sometimes you'll get people keep coming over being like, what's going on? It's like, well, there are points in this job where you actually can't do any more.
Nothing, it's out of your control basically.
Yeah, exactly. You're waiting on other people. So that can get a bit frustrating, but unfortunately sometimes there's nothing you can do. I mean, occasionally, like obviously signals and stuff, they'll just try swinging the points randomly again. Sometimes you'll get the detection back. Sometimes you get lucky with things like that, but it don't always work out.
They've got a point switch, so if you go over and over, and eventually sometimes the detection comes back. Otherwise, you'll have to go and get, before signals could go and clip the scotch. But now MOMs have to do it. And then the MOMs have to take a line blockage to do that. So that would add to the time.
Exactly, because we don't have red zone working anymore, so that's all sort of been taken away.
Exactly,
But, and then from that we can take the information from there, and we've got another log called CCIL, which is the Control Centre Incident Log. So that opens as this. So when we create these logs, so this is the one I created for the 1038.
A record of it.
Yes, and basically you can tailor who this is open to, but it normally automatically does it for you anyway. But it just allows everyone that sort of needs to see it. So some of these, I don't know who that is. He's from GTR, sorry, because that's his company code. So that's someone that works for GTR, so they are able to read this log, sort of keep updated as we go with it through the incident. And this is all time stamped. You can adjust the times if you need to, because sometimes you'll be so busy that you've got other things going on as well, and you'll be a bit behind creating the logs. But I think you can change these up to 6 hours, I think, roughly. But it's all time stamped, obviously your name's with it, the company you work for, so that people can obviously...
It's information sharing, basically.
And then you become accountable for that information, basically. So it's obviously... There is obviously has to be some accountability for it all, because you're the process that you're going through. But you just update that as you go along through the incident. Once you've created the fault, that's pretty much all you.
And how do you get the information from different parties that are involved in?
So that points failure, for example, the SSM gave me the fault from the signaller. I've then put it into the system. I've obviously created this log. I hand that information out to the S&T team. That was Cambridge S&T, and also the mom, just to get them down there as an option to obviously help out. So sometimes more manpower is better, or the mom can take line blockages whilst the S&T get on with the work.
That's correct.
I think some people assume sometimes that we send like a lot of people to things, but the S&T teams can be comprised of just like 2 or 3 people.
Right.
So instead of them having to keep getting our line blockages doing this and that, you can get the mom to do it, so they can just crack straight on with the work.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That
makes total sense.
Yeah, you're trying to save time, obviously. Like minutes matter, they say.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then from there, they'll update us from site, so they'll ring us directly and give us updates as we go along. Which most of them, I can't really fault anyone, to be fair. All the moms and the teams are pretty good. Cambridge can get a little bit funny sometimes because they're all supposed to ring in the day to let us know which teams are on.
Right.
Cambridge is the only team I know that don't
Is that
ring us at all.
DU? Or?
Yeah, it's the S&T teams themselves.
S&T,
yeah,
okay.
They actually will ring us up directly. We've got all of the phones and everything.
Right.
They ring us up directly. And but yeah, they'll update us with the information, so then we can put it into here, and then normally again, depending on how your communication is, you shout it out.
You keep an eye on this?
They have obviously access to it all, and then obviously the guys in the office,
the guys
other companies.
TRC?
Yeah, they'll have access to it as well.
Because that's the impact of that. The train running service.
That info desk over there will have access to it as well, so they can take people, because they send out
emails,
performance emails. Yeah, so they send out all of that.
They're called, what's the name of that desk?
The
information desk. Information controller. Okay.
So they'll put out emails to different parties
just to make sure everyone updated.
That's it,
communication.
Yeah, pretty much. And that is the whole point of this job, really. It's the flow
of information, communication.
Yeah. So once we get updates from them, we can obviously voice that up here, put it in the logs so it keeps everyone aware. And then you might, again, if something's not happened for 20, 30 minutes, you might get a nudge from someone, or one of the TLCs might get a phone call from the TOC and things like that. But you're normally sort of going in the right direction, and then it's just about being able to find what the fault is and get it fixed.
And then once you fix it, I'm assuming you close it, but do you inform or do you cancel?
Yeah, what will happen is we'll obviously update everyone via these logs, and then we will shut them off eventually. But what we normally need is, with an incident like that, obviously it'll rack up delays.
Delays, exactly.
In this trust system is how all the delays are done. Obviously, you spoke to the doctors.
TDA,
yeah. I used to be a TDA.
Oh,
so, yeah,
okay.
Makes my life a bit easier.
Yeah, exactly.
But, so like now, that points failure, that one at Foxton, that's nearly 3.5 hours of delays in it.
Wow, okay.
Which, depending on the area and obviously where you are, that's part of the hours. GTR is quite an important topic to us, but minute-wise, it probably won't be as expensive as, say, delays at Liverpool Street or going through Stratford. Things like that. It's all sort of judged on that.
So you would inform TDA that the delay could be attributed?
They create these, and then what we do with them is we just take the information and stick it into our logs. So again,
once they find out, they create their side
That's
of it.
That's it, yeah. And they put the trains into it. We don't do any of that over
They put
here.
the trains.
That's it. And then they attribute all that information, and then we just take the information and stick it into this log here.
Delay
So I can do that now, actually. And then that just sort of gives all parties an idea of obviously how damaging, I suppose, is maybe the word, that particular delay's been.
Right, yeah.
But GTR is quite important.
And why the delay has occurred?
Yeah, exactly. And again, these tins that they create, the train incident numbers that they create, they put some of their own information there sometimes, because we don't always. There is sometimes maybe a missing link in the information, because we obviously deal with the infrastructure faults, but sometimes there'll be things that go on within the infrastructure that we don't find out about. They'll get told about where they're making their inquiries for signals and stuff. And sometimes some people don't see things as relevant to be put through, but it's like at the moment we're quite hot on level crossing issues.
Right, yeah, of course.
So that every level crossing issues, no matter how sort of innocuous maybe the word is, I don't know like how unimportant it is to some people, we need to know that because it all needs to be logged, and there's people that keep an eye on that sort of information.
Right.
Because obviously it builds patterns for us as well, like a lot of the time. Again,
and hotspots, you're going to identify.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like again, these points, if they failed 3 or 4 times over the last couple of days or 2 weeks, there's obviously a problem there.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
underlying, and then that gives you a chance to obviously go. The same with the crossings.
And raise it for like a proper inspection and
so like the
fix
crossings would be that they're trying to obviously remove as many crossings as they can to make it as safe for people as possible. So if you've got hotspots somewhere where people are constantly abusing it,
yeah.
What can you do to stop it? What can you do? Change? Can you put maybe an underpass in? Or
exactly.
Bridge in?
Improvements.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's what all this information ultimately does. So especially FMS for our infrastructure, it gives us ideas of potential, like I said, hotspots that are going to cause maybe bigger problems down the line. So it can all sort of go towards sort of a bigger goal that I guess maybe we don't see so much here, because we're at a level where we're involved with everything, but you're not at that next level where you're involved in sort of the bigger conversations.
Yes,
you know what I mean? But again, we are sometimes, because we'll go on conference calls and bits and pieces, and they'll obviously talk about
feedback.
stuff that's been going on, and especially in the case of larger is when you've got tins that are going like thousands and thousands of minutes, they become quite hot topics.
Right,
so
of course.
Sort of, you can get involved with that sometimes, occasionally. But these are the two main things for us. So FMS and Cecil are the two main tools that we use as incident controllers.
Cecil.
We have got a few other tools and bits and pieces we do use, especially because on that desk there you'll get calls from the National Helpline, and they can be very vague sometimes. You have to do a bit of detective work. So we've got like all these track diagrams, emergency plans and things that we can help. Obviously, even something like a basic tool such as Google Maps, we can use to sort of have a look at things, because sometimes they'll just give us a postcode and then we have to obviously locate which stations they're near to and things like that. So we've got quite a few tools available to us. There's a guy that works over here called Gary. He basically created this entire setup. This is our incident controller tools. Yeah, this has got information on the bridge strikes, all the different systems we can use, bits and pieces, wrong side track circuit failures we get, the guides and stuff for it. He literally created all of this.
Is that an actual system?
Yeah, this is called incident controller tools. And
wow.
This guy Gary, he sort of created this and keeps it all updated and stuff. It's pretty nifty, to be fair. Credit where credit's due.
Does it just tell you what to use?
No, you'll sort of know the systems that you want to have it. Like this is our bridge strike appendix. So you guys obviously have a copy of these in your boxes and things, don't you? So this is our sort of version of it. He's obviously copied over, and he's got these search boxes to try and find. Because sometimes someone will give you just a name or something, and you have to type it in.
He's created a database for all the tools that you need to do an instant, a competent instant controller.
So he's done bits like that. It's actually quite good.
That's really good. So he must be really hot on IT.
Oh, he's mad with his IT. The speed database, this new speed database, he developed himself from scratch.
Wow.
So I think they're trying to roll this out nationally at the moment.
What does it do?
I said, why are you working for Network Rail? Just go and do stuff like this and charge them a fortune.
Software developer.
I said, you're not getting nothing for this.
Wow. Okay, what does this do?
This tracks all the speeds on the whole Anglia route. I think he is trying to roll it out nationally.
It tracks the speeds?
Yeah, so any speeds that go out, obviously, because we take all the speeds up here, we're the ones that put them in and send them out. So
for emergency speed restrictions.
That's it, your ESRs. So we get all the information given to us up here, where all the boards are and everything, what roads, so we are the ones that then have to take it and put it into the system. So this system, we've currently got 12 speed restrictions on the Anglia route, ESRs.
Do you input the speed restrictions there?
So if I want to put in a new speed, I'll click on create ESR and I'll start the process of creating a new speed restriction.
And you would pass the information on to your signaller or SSM?
Well, with the way these are done, obviously we get told they'll be going on, so once P-Way have stuck out the balls and everything, they need to tell the box that the speed's now in place, because obviously sometimes they get, normally I think it's a 2-hour dispensation to get the speed out, so obviously you guys will be made aware of it potentially coming on, or will be going on, so you can do your caution or whatever, can't you? And then the P-Way are supposed to obviously contact you guys to tell you it's now the ball's in place.
It's not the controller that tells them?
No, because we obviously only find out about these things through, like Chris had one earlier, he had a broken rail, so they rang up here, told Chris they've got a broken rail, the speed's going to be going on, so we're like, right, okay, so we create the fault for that. The teams obviously for this instance, they already know, so they then go back to their depots, get the boards, they then, I don't know what system it is they